What's good, YouTubers and YouTubettes? This is JB Sports back again with another one. Gonna talk about the Gypsy King, Tyson Fury. A report came out on the Athletic website saying that Gerald Big Baby Miller was speculated to possibly be Tyson Fury's next opponent, will not be seriously considered for Tyson Fury's next fight. They're saying even though his PED drug suspension is going to end in 6 months, and that'll be right about the same time Tyson Fury will be fighting in late September, early October, that they're not gonna, Top Rank is not gonna consider him because one major issue is he's being sued by his co-promoter Dimitri Salita. So that he's gonna have to get that contract issue cleaned up and get that taken care of before Big Baby Miller will be able to sign with any promoter. Eddie Hearn, when the fiasco happened with Gerald Big Baby Miller failed those 3 drug tests. He basically was in breach of the contract, and that contract was null and void. So he is a free agent, but don't look for him to be Tyson Fury's next opponent. Like I say, he's got contract issues with a co-promoter, Dimitri Salita. He's got to take care of that and get that cleared up before you probably see Gerald Big Baby Miller back in the ring. Remember back in the day, not back in the day, but you remember I say around 3 or 4 years ago, Andre Ward was sidelined. He was in a fight with I think it was Joe Goosen. Goosen Productions, Joe and Dan Goosen. He was in a legal battle with them, and they kind of sidelined Andre Ward for a little while there. So it's been precedent set that fighters that have been in contract disputes with their managers or co-promoters that have sidelined them, they're not able to pursue any fights until that matter is resolved. I think that's going to be the problem with Big Baby Miller. So long story being short, don't look for that fight to be next. Tyson Fury versus Gerald Big Baby Miller. Now, I'm gonna speculate on some opponents for Tyson Fury. As they say, the pickings are slim. He's got slim pickings. He has Top Rank don't have. Problem is, Top Rank don't have a lot of heavyweight fighters of relevance, up under their banner. Number one. Now, one guy he could look to fight is Brandon Jennings if he beats George Joyce, and that's a big if because he's the underdog in that fight. George Joyce is a younger, harder hitter, stronger guy, but this is George Joyce's first fight fighting probably a top 10 heavyweight in Brian Jennings, so he's taking a step up in class. So we'll see if Joe Joyce is up to the task, but he's the favorite because he's a young. I'm not saying people saying, wait a minute, what are you saying, JB Sports? He's a younger guy. He's 33 years old. He's probably older than Brian Jennings. What I mean by his younger guy is he's a fresher guy. You look at the rounds and the fights that Brian Jennings been in. He took a terrible beating in the Luis Ortiz fight. He got knocked out brutally by Oscar Rivas. He's been in there with Vladimir Klitschko. He held his own against Vladimir Klitschko. It turned out that was the sign of a decline in Vladimir Klitschko as he got exposed in his next fight with Tyson Fury. So that could be a possibility. Brian Jennings. I'm gonna tell you another guy that Barbara Arum need to look at. Barbara Arum need to go to Al Heyman and ask see if he can get Charles Martin to maybe be a possible opponent, because he's gonna need a USA fighter. He can't bring a foreign fight over here and expect that fight to sell. As we seen the tennis figures came out. They came out today, and Michael Coppinger released it on his website. They came out today, and they said the guy, he showed around about a little over 7,000 tickets for that fight in Las Vegas, and they said around about a little over 1,000 of them were comp tickets. So in actuality, he sold around 5,900 total tickets. I think there was around in the high 5,000s, basically 5,900. Is what he sold. That was not good, man. They said he did a gate under $1 million, so it was not good. We're gonna see how many subscriptions did ESPN Plus get added on for that fight, that particular night. Man, I watched the fight, man. It was a impressive performance by Tyson Fury, but he was fighting a guy that probably is a European level fighter. He's not a world level fighter. So he did what he's supposed to do. And as you know, when I told y'all in my prediction video that Tyson Fury needed to knock the guy out, because there's no way he could let that guy go 12 rounds. Even though Tyson Fury is not known as a knockout artist, he needed to knock out a guy that was nowhere on his level, and he did that. So give him credit for that. But those are the two opponents I'm looking at, man. Charles Martin. Go to Al Heyman and see if you can get Charles Martin out of there. You know, a lot of people saying, "Oh man, Charles Martin is a joke. He got destroyed by Joshua, and he got beat by Adam Konaki." But that's the only two people he beat. You know, that's the only two people that beat him. It's not like he lost to some scrub. He lost to Anthony Joshua. This is before Anthony Joshua was fell apart after the Klitschko fight. He was just not the same fighter. This is before then. This is when Anthony Joshua was throwing combination. Was a very aggressive fighter. And he was with a high level of skill in the heavyweight division, and this when this guy had that killer instinct and that seek and destroy mindset. You know, when he was a young fighter trying to get his first world title. He went there and destroyed Charles Martin. Charles Martin was scared. Don't get me wrong, he was scared. He was scared, man. He saw ghosts going into that ring. He was not ready for the occasion of that event, and he got destroyed. But you know, you look at how he fought against Adam Konaki. I guess that's his second high-profile fight, you know, besides the AJ fight. And he fought a good fight, man. And Konaki won the fight, no doubt about it. It was a very good, competitive fight, action-packed fight. It was on the undercard of, I can't remember what main, but it was, I couldn't even remember what card it was on. But it was at the Barclays in New York. And it was a great performance by Charles Martin, man. He put on a good performance, man. He took a lot of shots, and he kept throwing it. You know, he kept, putting up a good fight. He was able to hit Adam Konaki with a lot of shots, and that's not saying much because Adam Konaki defense is not the greatest. But he put on a great performance, man. I'm not gonna say he put on a great performance. He put on a career-saving performance. Put it like that. He put on a career-saving performance because he took a lot of shots. You know, Adam Konaki is not a one-punch knockout artist, but he's a heavy-handed fighter. And you know, if he can hit you with multiple punches, he can get you out of there, as you seen he did with Gerald Washington. So he's a heavy-handed fighter, and Charles Martin was able to take those punches and not go down one time. As you know, he didn't go down as easy as he did in the AJ fight. Like I said, the AJ fight he wasn't ready, man. He was fish out of water fighting over there in the UK. Wasn't ready. First time defending his title. I don't think he actually knew how good AJ really was at that point in time. Maybe he went in there thinking, a lot of people say it was a 50-50 fight because, you know, I think they thought, you know, AJ was unproven. He had never really fought nobody up to that point. And Charles Martin had just won a title. But even though, you know, you look at how he won that title off a freak injury. You know, the guy basically tore his ACL in the ring, and he was able to win the belt. You know, he didn't like he won it by his boxing ability. He won that fight. He won that title due to an injury. So, so the first time in the big lights, he looked, you know, he fell apart and got destroyed by AJ. But the second time, and now that, you know, he wasn't in the biggest lights. I'm not gonna compare as far as the level of a fight, you know, that it was with AJ. But he was fighting the up and coming, undefeated, a guy that had a strong fan base, strong Polish fan base in Adam Konaki, and he was able to hold his own and put up a good fight, man. I thought he probably won 3 or 4 rounds in that fight. You know, it was a clear win for Adam Konaki, but I thought Charles probably won I think it was like 8-4, somewhere in there, 8-4, 9-3, somewhere in that range. He put on a good performance, man. And a lot of them rounds most of the rounds were competitive. It wasn't no time in that fight you were thinking like, oh man, Adam Konaki is really going off on Charles Martin. The referee might need to think about waving this fight out. Charles Martin Conan might need to throw in the towel. They never got to that point. It was even the rounds that Konaki won. They were very competitive, man. Action packed, man. It was one of the better fights of I think it was last year. Better fights of 2018. So we'll see what happened, man. But that's like I said, the pickings are slim, man. This is, you know, Top Rank is in a bad spot, man. I think that's the reason why Bob Arum was saying that they will go to Deontay Wilder next. They want that fight next. You know, because I think Bob Arum had already seen those numbers that we've seen today, and he saw the numbers were dismal. And Top Rank's probably gonna lose a lot of money has probably lost a lot of money on that Fury Schwartz fight. So they looking to, gain some of that money back. And they probably say if we put on another fight with Tyson Fury against a quote-unquote tune-up, it'll probably do similar numbers or worse numbers. So so that's why they saying, man, let's go straight to the Deontay Wilder fight, man. Cause we can't keep taking the losses like that. We on a premium channel, and not a premium channel, but we on a we on ESPN, the best sports channel in the United States, and we've got to show them that we're able to put on fights that produce good numbers, and that wasn't the case against Fury and Schwartz. So we'll see what happens, man. We'll see what happens, man. But like I said, that's the opponents I see for Tyson Fury, because he's gonna need a U.S. opponent. It's not gonna be Wilder next, because Wilder's fighting Luis Ortiz. That fight is pretty much set to be on September 28th. It's gonna be in L.A. Staples Center, pay-per-view. They're already setting up the co-main event. It's gonna be Anthony Durrell versus Benavidez, David Benavidez. That's a real strong co-main event, and I think they've got some other people they're looking at to be on that card. So that fight is pretty much locked in. So if Tyson Fury can sit on the sideline and just wait till after that fight, and then fight the winner, especially if it's Wilder, or he could try to stay busy and stay sharp. And I think that's what Top Rank elect to do, man. But they've got to find, to me, it's got to be a U.S. fighter. And the two guys I named is, I think the front runner should be Brian Jennings. But that's just assuming that he beats Joe Joyce. I think that fight is July 13th. It's gonna be on. It's gonna be up over there in the UK. So they're gonna need Brian Jennings to get that win. If he get that win, then that'll be a quick turnaround, going from July to maybe October 5th. That's gonna be like a basically a 3-month, July, August, September, October. It'd be less than 3 months turnaround from Joe Joyce to Tyson Fury. And that's assuming that Brian Jennings don't take no damage in that fight. He could take some damage. He can win that fight, but take a lot of damage, where he can't come back that quick. So we'll see what happens, man. We'll see what happens, man. But that'll be the first guy you're looking at, Brian Jennings. If you can't get him, you look at maybe a Charles Martin, from the PBC, man, and try to take him, man, because at least he's been in there with some top level competition, and AJ and Kanaki, and them only two guys that he beat. That's not them two losses. They're not bad, humiliating losses. You lost to just guys that are better than you, but you lost to guys that are probably top 7 heavyweights, and AJ and Adam Kanaki. So we'll see what happens, man. We'll see what happens, man. We'll see what happens. This is JB Sports, the man, the myth, the legend. I holla.